I'm going to cook you two dishes based around eating healthily, getting a nice mix and nice balanced diet, and also something that's quite cost sensitive. So both the dishes that I'm going to make won't cost any more than £5 for two people. So £2.50 a portion, £2 a portion, that sort of price, and they're very good for you. The first dish I'm going to cook is a way of using up old bits of pasta. I'm going to use lasagna sheets. You don't have to use that. You can use pappardelle, you can use spaghetti, but lasagna sheets work best. So if you buy something like this, like a big packet of lasagna sheets, you make a lasagna, you have half of them left, you don't want to make another lasagna, or you've just got some broken ones left lying around, this dish is perfect for it. So it's a dish called stracci, which means rags basically, so leftover pieces. And you can see these have already been cooked in water, but they're all ripped up and sort of broken and nasty, and they're not very neat, and that's exactly what we're looking for though. So they're alright as they are, just blanch very, very quickly, they're still quite firm. And then I've got some sausages here. These are called merguez sausages, Spanish sausages, very, very nice. I'm using them for this purely for the flavour. You can use whatever you like, the leanest, cheapest sausages you want. You can use meatballs, you can use anything you like. We're just going to cut them up very, very quick, very, very roughly. They don't need to be anything neat or tidy. We're going to bake the dish through the oven anyway. Tiny, tiny bit of oil in the pan. I'm using extra virgin, but you can use pomace or olive oil, or you can use sunflower, nut oil, it doesn't make any difference. So quite a hot pan. We'll chuck those into there. As soon as you put them in, just turn the heat down. It doesn't need to be boiling hot. Then I've just got some smoked bacon that I'm just going to cut up randomly. Again with this, you don't have to use smoked bacon. You can buy cubed up pancetta, or you can just use back bacon, whatever you prefer. So I'll just leave them cooking, just as they are. So I'm just going to add to it some chilli. With the chilli you can either leave the seeds in or take them out, it's entirely your choice. I'm going to cook up to the point where the seeds are basically. And that's it, depends how hot you like it. And then just one clove of garlic, take the end off and then just crush it with your knife. That'll make it a lot easier to peel. So when you're peeling garlic, chopping garlic, just chop down. I can go quite thin with a knife. If you can't go that thin, don't worry too much. Just chop it up. And a great tip to crush some garlic. If you haven't got a garlic crusher at home, or you want it a little bit finer, get yourself some salt onto the garlic. That'll help it grip, and it'll also bring out the moisture in the garlic as well. So you can either do it like I'm doing, which is admittedly a bit chefy, or you can just press it with your hand and rub it like that, and it'll get crushed the same. So just basically crushing up the garlic. I'll add the garlic now to the sausages and the bacon. And you can see the colour has come out of the sausages and the bacon. This is the flavouring out of the sausages. If you use a cheaper sausage you won't get this, but we're using a sausage that's quite heavily spiced. So I'm going to add the chilli to it as well. Back on the heat. And although this dish has got quite a lot of oil in it, as you can see off the pan, you can drain some of that away if you prefer. A lot of the flavour's in the oil, but you can drain that away to make it slightly more healthy. But in the dish you're going to have carbs. If you want a complex carb, you can use a different wheat pasta. You've also got your protein in there, and we're going to have some vegetable flavours as well. And it's nice to have a bit of heat from the chilli and the garlic, both very, very good for you. So as that's cooking down now, I've got some basil. Now, if you're using fresh herbs in cooking, I don't know whether you guys probably would, but if you're using fresh herbs in cooking, always remember to cut the herbs just as you're about to send them, and put them in the food just as you're about to send it. If you put it in too early, you'll lose all the flavour of the herbs, so essentially you're wasting your own time. So right at the last minute, I'll leave that. Here, I've got half a tin of just plum tomatoes, just chopped tomatoes. You can use passata, but it's a little bit too watery, so just use chopped tomatoes in a can, costs hardly anything, and tip them in as well. And that'll just bring it all together and give you a real nice tomato flavour. Now as the pasta's already cooked, we don't have too much else to worry about really. So I'm just going to cut this basil just very, very gently. You can rip it if you want, or you can just cut it up like that. And don't cut it too small because then it gets lost, the flavour gets lost. So you can see now how much this has changed into sort of a tomato stew. I'm going to add the basil to it. Mix that round ever so slightly. Now for a different flavour, we're going to add a little bit of cheese to it. This is feta. Feta is great for cooking purely because it doesn't melt and go very, very liquid very, very easily. It tends to hold its shape a lot easier. So I've put that in there as well. Get your pasta. If it's not already rich, this is, but if it isn't, just pull it apart just like that and chuck it in the pan anyhow. It doesn't make any real difference. And then you're going to layer it very, very similar to a lasagna. We'll just put that in. More sheets of pasta. And just chuck it on like that. It doesn't need to be fancy. It doesn't need to be particularly looking special. You can take your time over it if you want, but if you want something that you can just put in the oven very, very quickly, go and do something else for 10 or 15 minutes, then come back. This is perfect. So that's it done now. All I'm going to do at the end, just to finish, is add a little bit more feta just over the top. And then a little bit more basil, just for some freshness on top as well. A little bit of pepper. And then just as a nice finish, this is a great way to know whether it's ready or not. Just get yourself an egg. Crack an egg in the middle, just like that. Just so it sits there. Try and get the yolk to sit in the middle like that. And as it sits in the middle, it's a great, even if it moves to the side, doesn't make any difference. Stick it in your oven. It's a great indicator of whether it's cooked, because basically everything that you've put in the oven is already cooked. All you're doing is finishing it off. Generally go by the rule that when the egg is cooked and it's nice and firm on top, the rest of the dish will be ready. You don't have to worry about timing, you don't have to worry about anything like that. So while that's in the oven,